Well, a very good afternoon to you, and we are glad that you have joined us for this National Assembly proceedings afternoon sitting on this fifth day of December, the year 2023. And this is a live broadcast that is brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in partnership with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. Members of the National Assembly will this afternoon consider a procedural motion by the leader of the majority party, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. This is a procedural motion that will be moved by the leader of the majority party and will be seeking to have the House approve Thursday morning sitting this Thursday over the 7th of December that the House to hold a morning sitting on this particular day. And this is pursuant to the House Standing Order number 30, Part 3C, that the House will agree to hold a morning sitting for purposes of considering priority business ahead of the December recess. Remember, the House is set to proceed on a long recess from this week. The last sitting is expected to be this week on the Thursday, and thereby this morning sitting that the members are seeking to hold this Thursday morning will be to enable the House consider priority business ahead of that particular recess. And the Thursday morning sitting, remember, the House normally sits on Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning, and Wednesday afternoon, and a Thursday afternoon. But this procedural motion is pursuant to the House Standing Order number 30, 3C. That indicates that the House will be meeting or may be meeting on any other day in order to transact business. So that is a procedural motion that this afternoon the members will be considering and will be moved by the leader of the majority party. The sitting will start at 9:30 in the morning. The members of the National Assembly will also consider a procedural motion that will also be moved by the leader of the majority party. This procedural motion seeks to have the publication period of a specified bill to be reduced, and this is pursuant to Standing Order number 120 to have the National Government Administration Laws Amendment Bill originating from the National Assembly, Bill number 73 of 2023, to be reduced from 14 days, which is the normal period for publication of a bill, to 11 days. This is the National Government Administration Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 73 of 2023. And then this bill is also lined up for first reading at the National Assembly chambers this afternoon. The National Government Administration Laws Amendment Bill 2023 seeks to make various amendments to the Assumption of Office of President Act 2012. And in this particular act, it aims to amend the Assumption of the Office of the President Act with the objective of strengthening the composition of the Assumption of the Office of the President Committee by incorporating the Secretary to the National Security Council and the Principal Secretary responsible for defense as additional members of the committee. The bill also seeks to enhance the representation of the President-elect in the committee by increasing the number of representatives of the President-elect from 3 to 6. This is one of the amendments that this bill seeks to make amendments to. Also, the National Security Council Act is part of the acts that will be undergoing some amendments owing to this particular bill. This is the National Security Council Act 2012. But as you can see, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Gladys Boss, is in the chambers. She will be presiding over this afternoon's sitting. Allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in partnership with KBC. Good afternoon.
Leaders and parliaments, for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor. Ask your servants whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. May I have my card? May I have my, he has my card. We may proceed. Honorable Makilap, we have not even begun the session. Allow us to begin. You may proceed, first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, you may recall that during the afternoon sitting of Thursday, 23rd November 2023, the House rejected all Senate amendments to the County Government's Additional Allocations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2023. This decision consequently remitted the bill to a mediation committee in accordance with Article 112 of the Constitution and Standing Order number 149. Honorable members, you may recall that during the afternoon sitting of Wednesday, 29th November 2023, I notified the House that in accordance with Article 113 of the Constitution, I had nominated 7 members of the House to represent the National Assembly in the mediation committee on the bill. I also designated the chairperson of the Budget and Appropriation Committee, Honorable Ndindi Njoro, MP, to co-chair the committee. Honorable members, having conveyed the decision to the Senate, I wish to inform the House that the Senate has now nominated the following senators to the mediation committee. 1, Senator Ali Ibrahim Roba, EGH MP, who is a co-chairperson. And 2, Senator Esther Akinyuri, MP. 3, Senator Veronica Waheti Maina, MP. 4, Senator Lenku Olekanar Seki, MP. 5, Senator Eddie Geshoru Okech, MP. And 6, Senator Shakali Abdallah Muhammad, MP. And 7, Senator Betty Batuli Montet, MP. Honorable members, now that the mediation committee is fully constituted, I urge the committee to expeditiously commence the consideration of the contested clauses with a view to concluding the process within the timelines provided by Article 113 of the Constitution. Additionally, the clerk is hereby directed to appropriately facilitate the committee, and the House is accordingly guided. Signed by the Right Honorable Substantive Speaker, Honorable Moses Wetangula. On that particular communication, why don't we get to the next, and then you'll have it at your statements. Yes. Next order. Just so that it's tidy.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
Honorable members, Article 119 of the Constitution accords any person the right to petition Parliament to consider any matter within its authority. Further, Standing Order 2252B requires the Speaker to report to the House any petition other than those presented by a member. In this regard, honorable members, I wish to report to the House that my office has received a petition from former employees of the Bohemian Flowers Limited in Nakuru County. The petitioners are citing unfair redundancy, summary dismissal, and suspension from employment. The petitioner states that the management of Bohemian Flowers Limited based their dismissal criteria on a violent strike that had occurred at the premises and which they were not part of. Honorable members, the petitioner states that the former workers sought the assistance with the Labor Office in Naivasha Sub-County under Section 71 of the Employment Act on the 19th of April 2023 without success. The petitioners aver that immediately thereafter, their positions were advertised immediately after they were dismissed and recruitment done despite various correspondences between the Labor Office, Naivasha Sub-County, and the management of Bohemian Flowers Limited. The petitioners further aver that even after the dismissal, it had become extremely difficult for them to access their pension schemes funds from Kenindia Assurance Company. Honorable members, the petitioners claim that the Bohemian Flowers Limited did not use payroll numbers while transmitting their wages and salaries, but were paid through biometric machines that have no backup for purposes of identifications. The petitioners thus seeks the intervention of the House to investigate whether the whole process of summary dismissal and suspension from employment was done within the law and whether it is just and fair. Honorable members, having established that the matter raised in the petition is well within the authority of this House, and further that the matters raised in the petition are not pending before any court of law or any constitutional or legal body, I hereby commit the petition to the Public Petitions Committee for consideration pursuant to Standing Order Number 208A. The committee is required to consider the petition and report its findings to the House and to the petitioners in accordance with Standing Order 227 of our standing orders. Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members to sit before I move to the next petition. Honorable members, take your seats. Okay, honorable members, Article 119 of the Constitution accords any person the right to petition Parliament to consider any matter within its authority. Further, Standing Order 225-2B requires the Speaker to report to the House any petition other than those presented by a member. In this regard, honorable members, I wish to report to the House that my office has received a petition from one Roberts Junuka Wekesa of P.O. Box 163, Bungoma, representing teachers employed by the Teacher Service Commission to teach learners with disabilities both in special school and special school units all over the country. The petitioner states that the Teacher Service Commission, jointly with the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, undertook a job evaluation in the public teaching sector, whose recommendations culminated in career guidelines, which were implemented on the 8th of November 2017 and replaced the scheme of service for teachers. Honorable members, consequently, the Teacher Service Commission established a new grading structure, increasing job scales from 10 to 11 grades, which in the opinion of the petitioner were not correctly placed for the special needs education teachers as per the career progression guidelines of 2018. Honorable members, the petitioner claims that their efforts to have the matter addressed by the Teacher Service Commission through the Kenya Union of Special Needs Education Teachers, KUSNET, have not been fruitful. The petitioner therefore prays that the National Assembly intervenes to revert to the provision of the career progression guidelines of 2018 applicable to the special needs education institution, but dates the implementation date. Honorable members, I have established that the matter raised in the petition is well within the authority of this House, and further, that the matters raised in this petition are not pending before any court of law, constitutional body, or legal body. I hereby commit the petition to the Public Petitions Committee for consideration pursuant to Standing Order 208A. Honorable members, the committee will be required to consider the petition and report its findings to the House and to the petitioner in accordance to Standing Order 227-2. Thank you, honorable members.
Order number 5, papers.
Yes, honorable members. Papers, Majority Leader.
Yes. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 5th December 2023. Annual report and financial statement of the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, the year 2021-2022 from Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. 2, examination of the report of the Auditor General on accounts of the State Department for Tourism for the financial year ended 30th June 2022 from the Ministry of Tourism. 3, annual report of the State of the Judiciary and the Administration on Justice for the year 2022-2023 from the Judiciary. 4, scorecard report of the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports for the year 2022-2023. 5, reports of the Auditor General and financial statement for the year ended 30th June 2023 and the certificates therein in respect of a 50 megawatts solar power plant in Garissa project, rural electrification and renewable energy corporation. B, last mile connectivity project phase 2, Kenya Power and Lightning Company PLC. E, USAID Boresha Jamii project, Jaramogi Oginga University of Science and Technology. D, Global Fund, HIV and AIDS project, National Syndemic Disease Control Council. E, Mombasa Gate Bridge Construction Project 1, Kenya National Highway Authority. F, Nairobi Ring Transmission Line Project, Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited. G, Global Fund to reduce malaria incidences and deaths by at least 75% of 2016 level by 2023, working towards malaria-free Kenya program, Ministry of Health. H, GOK, UNICEF Education for Young People Program, State Department for Early Learning and Basic Education. I, COVID-19 Health Emergency Response Project, Ministry of Health. And J, System for Land-Based Emission and Estimation in Kenya, SLIC Project, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry. Madam Speaker, I lay.
Thank you. Next, the chairperson for the Committee on Delegated Legislation. I think yours is third, Honorable Bukose.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In fact, I'm informing my good friend, the Honorable Bukose, that it follows alphabetically. So he has to wait. I finish because mine is delegated, is his health, so it comes after mine. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 5th December 2023. Reports of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the following regulations. 1, the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Criminal Assets Recovery Fund, Regulation 2023, Legal Notice number 151 of 2023. 2, the Prevention of Terrorism, Implementation of the United Nations Security Council resolutions on suppression of terrorism, Regulation 2023, Legal Notice number 152 of 2023. And finally, number 3, the Public Finance Management Ulinzi Prime Health Services Fund, Regulations 2023, Legal Notice number 175 of 2023. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Next, the Honorable Member for Endebess, I think Chairperson Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Unfortunately, it is not working. I don't know what's the problem. I need the ICT people to look at it. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 5th December 2023. Reports of the Departmental Committee on Health on 1, its consideration of the agreement on the establishment of the International Vaccine Institute, IVI, and 2, the Health System Management Training in Galilee International Management Training Institute in Israel from 30th May to 7 June 2023. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
There are more papers? Okay, next order. Committee on Diaspora, yes, I can see it here. Committee on Diaspora Affairs and Migrant Workers.
Thank you,
Proceed,
Madam
Honorable
Speaker.
Naika.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 5th December 2023. The report of the Delegation of Diaspora Affairs and Migrant Workers Committee to 1. Inspection visit to the Kenyan Embassy in Ottawa, Canada, conducted from 18th to 23rd September 2023. And the second one, the 10th session of the working group on the smuggling of migrants and constructive dialogue on the United Nations Convention against transformational organized crime. Review mechanism held from 5th to 9th October 2023 in Vienna, Australia. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chairperson, Committee on Health, do you have another report? Right, next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Proceed, Honorable Chepkonga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion. That this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Criminal Assets Recovery Fund Regulation 2023, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 5th December 2023, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 113, subsection 2 of the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act 2009, approves the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Criminal Assets Recovery Fund, Regulation 2023, published as legal notice number 151 of 2023. I have a second one, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion. That this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the prevention of terrorism, implementation of the United Nations Security Council resolutions on suppression of terrorism, Regulation 2023, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 5th December 2023, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 36A, subsection 2 of the Prevention of Terrorism Act 2012, approves the prevention of terrorism, implementation of the United Nations Security Council resolutions on suppression of terrorism, Regulation 2023, published as legal notice number 152 of 2023. Honorable Speaker, would I be in order under Standing Order number 83 to request you to suppress the noise that is emanating from Honorable
Honorable
Atandi,
members,
who has vacated this place to come and interfere with the proceedings on this other side. Honorable Speaker, I'd like to request that the Vice Chair moves the next motion. The Vice Chair.
proceed.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the following motion, that this...
Please give him the mic. He's completing the third one. Okay, so I think Honorable Chepua, you may proceed.
FCA and a fellow of Association of International Accountants. Honorable Speaker, the late Honorable Sifuna made his debut in Parliament after securing victory in parliamentary elections on 8th November 1979 as the first member for Bungoma South constituency. He thereafter served for 2 terms up to 1988, being the term of the 4th and 5th parliaments. He was re-elected in the first multi-party general election in 1992 on a Ford Asili ticket as the member for Kandui constituency, having been renamed from the Bungoma South constituency. The late Honorable Sifuna was an astute legislator who executed his duties with dedication and courage. His contributions to Parliament, its committees, and the plenary were invaluable, and his colleagues held him in high esteem. Honorable Speaker, the late Sifuna later left the political arena and transitioned to establishing and managing his businesses in Bungoma town. In his death, we celebrate a life of a well-respected public figure. He will be remembered as an ardent leader who defended human rights and democratic ideals, as well as being an active life member of the ODM party. The late Honorable Sifuna also advocated for the rights and welfare of sugarcane farmers to improve their living conditions and contributed immensely in the development of the region. Honorable Speaker, on my own behalf and that of my constituents, I wish to extend my deepest condolences to the family of the late Honorable Sifuna, including our colleague, the Honorable Senator for Nairobi, Honorable Sifuna, and the people of Bungoma for the loss of a remarkable leader. I also want to urge the executive to make this funeral a state function so that we accord this leader all that he requires. May his soul rest in eternal peace. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, pursuant to Standing Order 259D3 under tributes of the House, I will exercise my discretion to allow a few members to make a few comments and pay tribute to our departed colleague. We will each have 2 minutes just for efficiency. The Honorable Member for Navakolo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the great people of Navakolo and on behalf of myself, wish to convey my sincere condolences for the people of Kandui currently and Bumula, Honorable Speaker, where the late Lawrence Sifuna served as their Member of Parliament. Honorable Speaker, this is a great man who debated very well in this House, and when you look at the answer, Honorable Speaker, the exchanges he made between himself and the late Charles Njojo made it possible, Honorable Speaker, that he was named one of the 7 bearded sisters. A terminology, Honorable Speaker, which is in itself indicating on one side a lady, on the other side a man. Honorable Speaker, meaning he was both-sided. He was a strong man. And the 7 bearded members, Honorable Speaker, including George Anyona and the like, were very tough members who could debate on the floor and deliver the right message. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for that and convey my sincere condolences to the family. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kandui, Honorable John Makali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also add a voice on the demise of the late Honorable Lawrence Sifuna. The late Honorable Lawrence Sifuna represented Kandui constituency at the onset of multi-party democracy, the constituency of which I represent at the moment. On my own behalf, and on behalf of the great people of Kandui, I wish to pass my sincere condolences to the family, friends, and relatives of the late Honorable Lawrence Sifuna, and specifically to our Senator for Nairobi, Honorable Edwin Sifuna. The late Lawrence Sifuna was a fearless defender of the people. He spoke to authority. He defended Kandui people to the last. He was a fearless debater. He was an astute legislator. He immortalized himself on the floor of this house by the contributions he made on the floor of his house in defense of his people. We as people of Kandui and the entire Bungoma County and Kenya as a whole have lost a patriot, a serious legislator, and a defender of the rights of the people. I join this house and the entire nation in mourning such a great man, and we ask ourselves, when our time comes, what shall we be counted for? We ask that, as my colleague has said, we make this a state funeral in honor of this very great legislator who straddled the floor of this house like a colossus. I submit, Madam Speaker, and wish his soul eternal peace. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
And lastly, I'll give the Honorable Member for Kwanza, Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonyi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On my own behalf, on behalf of the people of Kwanza and my family, I want to take this opportunity to say pole sana for the family of the late Lawrence Sifuna, who we knew was a very good debater in this house, and the people of Bungoma and the Western Kenya as a whole respected Lawrence Sifuna because he was a man he spoke his mind and actually represented his people very effectively in this house. And therefore, the people of Bungoma and the family, I want to say pole, and with those few words, Madam Speaker, I want to say pole sana, and as requested, we should actually send off the Honorable Lawrence Sifuna through a state function, because he was a very effective member of parliament, and therefore, let's at least have a chance to be able to send the Honorable Lawrence Sifuna as a state person. And thank you so much, Pole sana, for losing our brother Sifuna. Thank you.
Next order. My apologies, honorable members. It has just been brought to my attention that there was in fact a statement by the Honorable Bishop Jackson Kosgei on behalf of Kedipa. Could you read your statement?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Order 43, on behalf of the Kenya Disability Parliamentary Association, KEDIBA, and the Commonwealth Parliamentarians with Disability Network, I wish to make a statement on the International Day for Persons with Disability. Honorable Speaker, the 2023 International Day of Persons with Disability was observed on Sunday, 3rd December. The day which was observed under the theme, quote, United in Action to Rescue and Achieve the SDGs for and with by persons with disability, end of quote, is an annual observance of the International Day of Disabled Persons, which was proclaimed in 1992. by the United Nations General Assembly, Resolution 47-3. Kediba, therefore, joins the rest of the world in observing this very important day. Honorable Speaker, the observance of the day aims to promote an understanding of disability issues and mobilize support for the dignity, rights, and well-being of persons with disability. It also seeks to increase awareness of gains to be derived from the integration of persons with disabilities in every aspect of political, social, economic, and cultural life. In addition, the day seeks to promote the rights, well-being, and the full and equal participation of WDs at every level of the society and development. It also seeks to urge all countries to take action for the inclusion of PWDs in all aspects of life. Honorable Speaker, according to the World Health Organization, over 1.3 billion people, representing approximately 16% of the global population, live with significant disability today. In Kenya, according to the Kenya Population and Housing Census 2019, it is estimated that 2.2% of the population, which is 0.9 million persons, live with some form of disability. Honorable Speaker, as elected members, it is our responsibility to bring the issues affecting persons with disability into this House and our committees with a view to ensuring that they are addressed. Our commitment to the fulfillment of all human rights for persons with disabilities has been strengthened by the widely ratified Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities and by the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. I therefore call on all parliamentarians, more so my colleagues in Kediba, to be disability champions in our respective constituencies. Honorable Speaker, in ensuring the implementation of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, as a House, we have the oversight responsibility through parliamentary committees' inquiries, questions to the executive, as well as scrutiny of the national budget to ensure that they are disability responsive. It is the joint responsibility of the Kediba, which I am privileged to belong to, as well as other members, to make use of these parliamentary tools to ensure that whatever action that needs to be taken or done to ensure the rights of persons with disability are strengthened and is done. Further, Honorable Speaker, we must scrutinize government policies to ensure they are in accordance with the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and use Parliament as a platform to bring the stories of persons with disability into the public eye. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. I make this statement on behalf of the Kenya Disability Parliamentary Association. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Kosgei. An honorable member for Bumula, Honorable Wamboka, I think I'll give you an opportunity.
Honorable Speaker, I want to move that you allow this House to rise for a minute of silence in honor of the late honorable member for Bungoma South, Lawrence Sifuna.
Honorable members, let us rise. in honor of our departed colleague, the late Honorable Lawrence Simiyu Sifuna. Minute of silence. May the soul of the Honorable Lawrence Simiyu Sifuna rest in peace. Thank you. Next order. Before we go to the next order, allow me to recognize the following delegation from the Kenya National Union of Teachers. Honorable members, I wish to introduce to you a delegation of 16 executives from the Kenya National Union of Teachers. Honorable members, they are on a visit to the National Assembly to pay a courtesy call to the member for Bumula, the Honorable Jack Wamboka MP. On my own behalf and that of the National Assembly, I wish them fruitful engagements. Thank you. No, thank you. Let's move to the next order. You had a point of order? Okay, let's go to your point of order before the next order.
Madam Speaker, I had intended to raise this point of order much earlier, but all the same, I think this is an issue that requires the attention of the whole House. It's an extremely important issue, Madam Speaker, and I seek your guidance. And I know you are for sure able to give guidance on this matter. I have got no doubt whatsoever. Madam Speaker, we are now in the 6th month of the financial year 2023-2024. As we speak, Madam Speaker, since this House appropriated funds to the NGCDF board for disbursement to respective NGCDF committees, not a single cent has hit the accounts, the bank accounts of the NGCDF committees. And NGAF, definitely. Madam Speaker, I rise to seek your guidance in the sense that this House, without necessarily anticipating debate, this House is poised to proceed on a long recess, very long recess, 2 months and above from this Thursday. Yet, Madam Speaker, we know that school children are opening schools in the first week of January. Much more important is that those who start their KCP exams are joining Form 1 in that same period. Madam Speaker, without bursary, which is provided for within the NGCDF framework, and NGAF, more than 3/4 of these children will not go back to school. That is an issue that should capture the attention of the whole nation. It's an issue that is so serious that should warrant this House taking a moment to ponder over it. In fact, it's an issue that would necessitate this House taking drastic measures. We have not been told yet what is the justification for the National Treasury not releasing the funds which is earmarked for the NGCDF to the NGCDF board. We are not aware. And NGAF, of course. When I refer to NGCDF, just just understand that I also mean GAF. Because the two go hand in hand. The two are like Siamese twins. Madam Speaker, therefore it behoves us as a House to take action. I want to ask you to compel, first and foremost, the chairperson of the NGCDF committee, my good friend, Honorable Musa Serma, to compel my good friend, the leader of majority party, the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, and to compel the CS National Treasury to come forth and inform the House when are we expecting the disbursements of NGCDF, at least to take care of the bursary component before we proceed on recess. It's a matter that cannot be dealt with after the recess has started. It's an issue that must be dispensed with now and be at least before Thursday, Madam Speaker. In fact, if I'm hearing my colleagues well, it's an issue you think must be dealt with now. Now. And therefore, if it must be dealt with now, it would mean, therefore, Madam Speaker, that the House might not transact in any other business. In my view, the House might not be in a position to transact any other business. I think so. The House would be in order to decline to transact any other business. In sympathy, in expressing its sympathy with the thousands of children of poor Kenyans out there, the children of hustlers, Madam Speaker, who are suffering out there, not knowing how they'll go back to school when schools open in January. I want to plead with you, and this is a very serious matter, Madam Speaker, and I will be asking my colleagues, once we have, and I want to also ask you to allow our honorable members to contribute to this issue, and after which then we can go and also chat out there so that we chat more freely. We chat more freely. Yes, in the corridors. In the corridors. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I think I'll give a chance to Majority Leader and also to the NGCDF Committee Chair. Who do I start with?
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to begin by thanking the leader of minority, the Honorable Pio Wandayi, for raising. Honorable Speaker, there are two very loud consultations from the member for Belgut and the member for Keio North, and they are conversing in a language that is not known. I could only hear Kongoi, Kongoi, Kongoi. Honorable Speaker, now that I have the attention, Honorable Speaker, I was saying, let me first thank the leader of minority for raising this issue, because as the leader of minority says, NGCDF is not a fund for members of parliament. NGCDF money is public money raised from Kenyan taxpayers for the benefit of Kenyan taxpayers. And I must repeat in the words of the leader of minority, in the interest especially of our hustler children who are awaiting for bursaries to be able to access what is a right to them under our Constitution. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I cannot agree more with the leader of minority that NGCDF is a matter that ought to be treated with special attention. And Honorable Speaker, as much as we all understand we are living in difficult times, part of the alleviation of that, the challenges that are there with the economy, is to ensure that those who are not able to access school in January without, especially those children who just finished KCPE, they are able to access NGCDF bursaries, they're able to access GAF bursaries for them to be able to report to school. Two, Honorable Speaker, I know there are also challenges with other emoluments under Parliament, because NGCDF members must also be cognizant that that does not fall under Parliament. It falls under the Ministry of Planning or the State Department of Planning. But there are also other challenges that relate to staff who are working in constituency offices who now fall under Parliament. Honorable Speaker, it would be extremely unfair for members of Parliament to earn their salaries. They have means and ways to enjoy their Christmas break, but the staff who are working in their constituency offices basically have no Christmas. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, we have taken this matter up with the National Treasury to deal with the twin issues of money that should be disbursed to Parliament and money that should be disbursed to the State Department for Planning, so that Honorable Speaker, I was waiting for the member for Budalangi to finish with this very loud advisory to the member for Madera. Now that it is done, I am sure I have his attention. That on NGCDF, we cannot afford to compromise, not for the benefit of members of Parliament. And we must never make it look to the world like members of Parliament have an interest in NGCDF. We only have the interest of the people who sent us here to represent them, not NGCDF. We actually would not care whether there is NGCDF or not if they made sure that bursary money was with the people that we represent. We would not care. Because it is our work to resolve issues that are of concern to the people of Kenya and the people that we represent. Therefore, what the Leader of Minority is raising is on behalf of the 290 of us who are charged with the responsibility of resolving issues that are of concern to the people. And there is no issue now that is of greater concern to the people than them getting access to education for their children come January. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I have already engaged with the Cabinet Secretary in charge of the National Treasury and the State Department of Planning and the NGCDF board, the NGCDF CEO. Unfortunately, here the Deputy Whip saying NGAF. I have not engaged with GAF, but since it also falls under the same State Department, they have indicated that they are actually in the process of working on disbursement so that by the time we break, now,
Honorable members, order, honorable members. Honorable members, the point is being made.
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Members, proceed, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, the matter is uncontested. Everyone is in agreement. So just allow the Majority Leader to complete his statement.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, if members can allow me to finish, because as the Speaker has indicated, this matter is not contested by anybody, not even the Leader of Majority. That is why I took the liberty, even before the matter was raised before the House, because you all forget that I represent the people of Kikuyu, first and foremost. And I have said it numerously. I don't sit here to represent, I don't represent government. Neither do I represent the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury. I don't work for them. I work for the people of Kikuyu. And when it comes to an issue, when it comes to an issue where there is conflict, when an issue comes where there is conflict between a cabinet secretary, a principal secretary, a chair of a board, or even the CDF CEO, and the people of Kikuyu, the people of Kikuyu take greater precedence than anyone else. That is why I'm pleading with you. You allow me to finish, because what was I saying in conclusion? I have already engaged with the Cabinet Secretary, telling the Cabinet Secretary precisely that there is now a situation where there's a conflict of interest between his work as a Cabinet Secretary and the Principal Secretary in charge of the National Treasury, the Director General in charge of Accounting Services, who is in charge of disbursing money, the Principal Secretary in charge of National Planning, the CDF CEO, and the people of Kikuyu. And I indicated to the Cabinet Secretary that by Thursday listen, as the leader of minority said, without anticipating debate, without doing what? Without anticipating debate. Honorable Speaker, again without anticipating debate, members will note that the House Business Committee had slotted in a morning sitting on Thursday. And I indicated to the Cabinet Secretary that this House cannot proceed to go on recess on Thursday without clarity as to the exact date, time, when the money not will be disbursed, will hit your NGCDF accounts at the constituency level. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, more important, Honorable Speaker, and I beg for members to listen, and it's easier to listen, Honorable Makilap, than shout from behind me. It is easier to lend me your ears and ask the Speaker. That is what happens in the August House. You don't shout from your seat. You request the Speaker to give you the mic, and you say what you want to say. More importantly, Honorable Speaker, the NGCDF CEO has indicated to me that and the chair of the NGCDF committee can confirm, we must act with equity so that no constituency is left behind. There are about 36 constituencies whose proposals are yet to be received by the CDF committee. And what we have requested, I was asked to also request the 36 members of parliament whose NGCDF committees. And let me repeat again, for the interest of those who are fond of going to court. It is not the members of parliament for the 36 constituencies. It is the 36 members of parliament to cause, in their oversight role, their NGCDF committees to submit proposals to the board so that they are not left behind. Lastly, I have indicated to the National Treasury and NGCDF that the availability or non-availability of proposals must not hinder disbursement, because what I listened to many members who came to my office from last week is what is bothering many of us, is money especially for bursary. And therefore, we have asked the National Treasury and NGCDF, they know what is provided for in law, the maximum for bursary. With or without the proposal, we must cause them to disburse at least up to that 40% for bursary, so that by the time our children are breaking from their Christmas break, we have processed the bursaries, or rather the NGCDF committees have received applications, processed bursaries, and they are ready to disburse those bursaries before schools open. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary is on his way back to the country because we were speaking on Monday, yesterday, while he was preparing to get back from COP28. And upon his arrival, I should be able to give a progress report on that particular position, either tomorrow afternoon or latest Thursday morning, before we even consider going for a break. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Just give one more member, then we go to the NGCDF chair. Honorable David Ochieng, member for Ugenya. I've seen you had pressed your point of order.
No, thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Without shouting, you did press the intervention button.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, mine is just to agree with the minority leader and the majority leader. I don't think, Madam Speaker, should get to this every year. That this parliament sits, passes a budget, goes ahead to pass a supplementary budget, where parliament even gets his money is cut, and then now we are proceeding to recess. No one knows when money will be given. No one knows when we'll have this money disbursed. And Mr. Speaker, this is the third year running where we have to beg for CDF money for our children, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think this house is losing its teeth. This house is losing its sheen. This house is not what we used to be. I've been here in my third term now, Madam Speaker, and we've never had to ask the majority leader of this house to talk about CDF, Madam Speaker. And I believe, Madam Speaker, it's because also us as members, we've become weak. We've allowed the executive to do whatever they want to us. We must, as members of parliament, take our role seriously, especially. There's no day I've seen any committee sending a minister away. If you don't use your teeth, they become blunt. And everyone knows they're now blunt, you cannot do anything with them. And so much as we have pressure on the majority leader, I think it's on us as a body of parliament. We've allowed the executive to go away with too much. They now think they can get away with anything against us. It must be said this afternoon that, Madam Speaker, if anything happens to our children because they don't have school fees, it's not because of the executive, it's because of us as members of parliament. It's because of us failing to hold the executive to account when we need to. It's because of us hobnobbing with the ministers when they come here, kissing them, treating them like their kids. So I don't mourn for anybody. I mourn for us as a house, that the Honorable Wandai, the Honorable Ichung'wa here, we must be able to, this thing we are doing this afternoon, you know, like bulls. You'd have done this long time ago. Not today, not this, you'd have done this even without it being brought to the floor. So our leadership, I believe, must take the role seriously as concerns the welfare of members and their constituents. And you know, some of these things, Madam Speaker, we know that if we don't do this, we'll keep going. This week, we're going for sports. We don't have enough budget for members to go for sports. Yet we did a budget the other day, we didn't put money for members to travel in there. We are now harassing the clerk to give us money which is not there, because you don't budget rightly. Madam Speaker, I wish to say as I sit down that as members of parliament, if we stop going to these offices and took our work seriously, we will get these monies on time. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
The chairperson, NGCDF committee.
Thank you, Madam
Honorable
Speaker.
Jared Okello, you
First
cannot
and
help
foremost,
me do my job.
First and foremost,
As long as you continue heckling, you will not get an opportunity. Just press the intervention button. Proceed, Honorable Chairperson.
thank you. First and foremost, Madam Speaker, I want to concur with the sentiments of the majority leader in terms of how we have approached this issue. One, I am a member of Eldama Ravine constituency, representing the people of Eldama Ravine before I became chair of the NGCDF. I want to thank the minority leader for bringing up this issue, because all of us, as a united house, we are able to deliver. But a divided house will not deliver. So I want to ask all of us to bear with us in the next
today and tomorrow, the CS will have come, and we expect the money. I was with the board, and I can assure you. Yes, I know it is now. You know, I can also say now. You know that. I can also say now, because I have interest. It is for the people of my constituency who are more important than any other thing being in this house in terms of any hierarchy or any position which I hold. Madam Speaker, this issue must be addressed well, and we should not be begging anymore. I want to agree with also Honorable David Ochieng that it is the failure also of us as a house. It is a failure of us as a house that we pass money to the various votes, but when you go to the ground, there is no money, including this is not the only development which is there, apart from CDF, because it touches on every member. Other infrastructural activities which are supposed to deliver to Kenyans have not been addressed. So I want to say this is the first step, that we come in unison and agree that all our children are more important than any other thing from now going forward. So, and I want to ask those 36 constituencies who have not also delivered their proposals to come up with their proposals and deliver it to the NCGCDF board. We need approximately 40% of that amount of money to cover bursary alone. So, in other words, with what we call administration and others, we need at least a minimum of 50%. Because we passed the first quarter and we are now on the second quarter, which we're supposed to have gotten the money this month. So I think you are right, but let us have it as we have all agreed that once the CS of Finance arrives, we should be able to get that money. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, honorable members, like I said from the beginning, this is a matter that's uncontested. All members are in agreement. Both the leader of majority and minority are also in agreement. And those other members who have spoken, including the speaker, and even those members who have spoken, they are all in agreement. I think I like the direction that was initially stated by the leader of majority, which was that before we go on recess, the cabinet secretary, Honorable TJ Kajwang. I have not completed the sentence. Honorable members, honorable members, honorable minority leader, we were just trying to confirm when the cabinet secretary can be here. Consult with the leader of majority when the cabinet secretary can be here, because members are walking out before they hear the answer. What's your point of order, minority leader?
The Honorable Speaker, I rise on a point of order.
Honorable members, you're denying yourself the opportunity of a solid answer. Honorable members, since everybody has spoken, we can move to the next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, approval of a Thursday morning sitting.
You were attempting to respond to the... Would you like us to move to the, since we've already called out the next order? No, let's move to the, let's go to the, okay, honorable members, be calm. I already called out the next order because debate on that other issue has since expired. Let us proceed to our next order.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to beg your indulgence to withdraw the procedural motion because of the way it was worded. And Honorable Speaker, we shall be consulting with the House Business Committee members.
To get there. Hold on. He's just withdrawing that particular point of order. Then we'll procedural motion.
Therefore, Honorable Speaker, with your indulgence, I beg to withdraw the order listed as order number 8 on the procedural motion to a later time, Honorable Speaker.
No, the person who's supposed to have a point of order is Honorable Wandai, not Honorable Mbui. Proceed, Honorable Wandai.
Madam Speaker, I raise a point of order that the House has got no quorum, and therefore the House can't proceed. Yes.
Honorable members, I direct that we ring the bell for 10 minutes. The bell is being rung. You can't have a point of order when the bell is being rung.
Well, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Gladys Bose, has directed a quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes. This follows the lack of quorum in the House. This was after the leader of the minority party in the National Assembly, Honorable Opio Wandai, rose on a point of order, informing the Speaker that the House lacks the requisite quorum for the business of the day to continue inside the House. But what transpired before that particular occurrence of lack of order in the House, remember that the House had already begun its business from 2:30, but the issue on the National Government Constituency Development Fund that the leader of the minority party, Honorable Opio Wandai, rose to raise in the House, indicating that the members of the National Assembly, or rather the NGCDF committees, have not received the monies at the constituency level, and the House is expected, or rather set, to proceed on a long recess that will put the constituencies at a limbo, considering the fact that in January the House will not be sitting, and it is a time or a point that most of the schools reopen, and most of the students who come from needy or vulnerable families require the funds commonly referred to as bursaries that usually cater for their school fees or financial ability in that capacity. So it is from that point that the member for that the member, the Honorable Member Opio Wandai, informed the House that they need to take action as a House to ensure that the monies are disbursed before the House proceeds on recess that is slated to start from 8th of this month, after the last sitting that will be on the Thursday of 7th in the afternoon sitting. And we also saw the leader of the majority party, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah also indicating that the House is in agreement with regards to the monies that need to reach the constituencies before the recess or before January, in order that when the schools reopen, then families who are not able to cater for their children's school fees can be able to benefit from such funds. But in his defense, or rather defending the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury and National Planning, as well as the CEO of NGCDF, the Honorable Leader of Majority indicated that he had earlier on engaged the CS Treasury and National Planning and the CEO for the National Government Constituency Development Fund, and that they confirmed that they will be working on that particular issue and they will be able to avail the money before the House takes its break for the long recess that is on Thursday. In this case, there are 36 constituencies that are said to have not yet submitted their proposals to the NGCDF board, and that they need to do so. However, the majority leader, or rather the majority of party majority leader, has indicated that they noted to the NGCDF board that whether there has been availability or non-availability of the proposals, no committee or no constituency should be left out in terms of being given the monies. The member for the chair for the National Government Constituency Development Fund Committee, Honorable Musa Sirma, who also took the stand to convince the members that there are engagements that are underway between the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury and the CEO of the NGCDF board, that they have agreed to disburse the monies before the recess begins, and also indicating that they need a total of about 40% of the monies that need to cover the bursary, which is said to be the most crucial bit in terms of the NGCDF monies that assists a bigger chunk of the community, especially those from the vulnerable side of the society, or those from the lower part of the pyramid. But members, beginning from all the comments that were being made by the honorable members, the members in the chambers were not agreeing to the commitments that were being made by the Honorable Member Kimani Ichung'wah, who is the leader of the majority party and the chair of the NGCDF, who was saying that they have engaged the Treasury and National Planning Office, as well as the CEO, as well as the board of the NGCDF, and that they have shown some commitments to have the money disbursed before the recess begins. The members were not agreeing to those commitments that were being made by those leaders, and yet they did not buy the idea that the money will be disbursed before Thursday or before the beginning of the recess, and thereby most of the members walked out of the chambers. The members walked out of the chambers, and basically that is what has happened. The next order was read, but the leader of the minority party, Opiyo Wandayi, rose on a point of order, indicating that there is no quorum for the House to continue with the other business in the order paper for today's afternoon sitting. So basically that is what is happening, but allow me to take you to the other house of the parliament, that is the Senate, for the proceedings as we await to see how the National Assembly will be taking up this matter. Si umeona? I think tuta. I hope ametutoa. I hope so.
Honorable members, honorable members, there being no quorum present in the House and the time being 4 p.m., this House stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 6 December 2023 at 9:30 a.m.